So headed to the AD right now to pick up the new Pelagos 39. I'm excited, but I'm also scared.
So here's the thing, if you're gonna make a 39mm Pelagos, then you're basically making a modern version of the 70s Tudor Snowflake. And that's a big deal. I guess what I'm saying is the bar for this watch is really high. Basically has to be perfect. Hey guys, I'm Max and this is Watch Crunch, a place to scratch your daily watch itch while connecting with watch lovers from across the world. So I've had two occasions over the last week to spend some time with the new Pelagos 39 and today we're gonna take a closer look at that watch, but also put it next to the 42mm Pelagos LHD. 2016 watch that was such a gem. It's got the same color scheme, just with a dash of Fotina. At the end of the video, you're gonna find out whether I put my money where my mouth is on the new Pelagos 39. So what's the significance to this release of a Pelagos in 39? Well, see, Tudor has been on a roll as of late, giving us watches like the FXD, the Black Bay Pro, the Ranger, and when I heard about the new Pelagos 39, I about fell out of bed. See, a vintage 5-digit snowflake has always been a grail of mine. I briefly owned a blue one, and if you follow the channel, you unfortunately know what happened to that watch. We don't need to talk about it again. Whereas those other releases earlier were kind of cult classics though, the Pelagos at 39 to 40 millimeters to me represents a modern rendition of the watch that probably defined Tudor as a brand. See, the original Snowflake sub of the 70s was the watch that put Tudor on the map, and design-wise, it marked the brand's departure from its big brother, Rolex. Love it or hate it, we have that watch to thank for the Snowflake hour hand seen on most Tudor sports watches today. So if in this video I seem extra critical, it's because of how long I've dreamed of this day and of this watch and how much I want it to succeed. So how do you define the Pelagos? Well, at this point, it's not just a watch, but like a line of watches within Tudor's offerings. And before this point, you may have associated the Pelagos with a professional diver with robust specs and maybe a tool-like aesthetic. But with the 39, these lines are being blurred. We've lost things like a helium escape valve, fixed lugs, or matte finish. And the new definition of the Pelagos seems to be just two things, titanium construction and square hour markers. Now, frankly, I'm okay with that because it's enough of a differentiation from the Black Bay line, which use other metals, mostly steel, as well as round hour markers. Now, personally, I prefer squares because the Snowflake hour hand is essentially a big square, and this dial just makes geometric sense to me. Moreover, the combination of these sharp 90-degree angles on the dial with the gunmetal finish of the titanium construction communicates an understated ruggedness of the Pelagos to me. So I gotta admit, the first time I picked up the Pelagos 39, I was thrown off a little bit. And maybe it was because of the harsh lighting in the showroom, but it looked too shiny and felt too dainty to me. So here, I'm gonna try to show you the watch outside to hopefully capture how it might look as you're wearing it in the wild. The major point of contention seems to be the brushed or sunburst finish on both the dial and the bezel. And this is more apparent on the bezel with a radial pattern that almost makes it look gray at certain angles. On the dial behind an AR-coated sapphire, it's a bit more subtle and only seen in more direct sunlight, but I still would have preferred the matte finish of the LHD. This almost eggshell texture on the bezel just blended so well into the titanium and the rest of the watch. In that way, the old Pelagos, it didn't mince words. It was a watch that dragged you out of bed, made you do push-ups. And as much as I prefer smaller watches, I also like watches that knows its purpose. And there was just something authentic about the old Pelagos. It felt purposefully big, like a Panerai is big. Now, all of that historical mumbo jumbo aside, if you just evaluate this watch in isolation, there is a lot to love. You might scratch your head as to why Tudor went with a awkward 21mm lug width, but once you put the watch on, it starts to make sense. Just 1 extra millimeter makes the transition between the in-link and the case less abrupt. It makes the bracelet look more integrated into the watch head. And you won't want to take that bracelet off, as it's lost those faux rivets that people detest, and the titanium is lighter and also a little bit warmer than steel. It features both a T-Fit quick adjust system as well as a diver's extension. The movement inside is the COSC certified MT5400, a Kanisi made and what Tudor calls in-house 4Hz workhorse with 70 hours of power reserve and an anti-magnetic hairspring. And small details on the watch keep things interesting, with a line of red text over a black dial, a callback to vintage Rolex subs, and we get the Tudor shield on the crown framed by great looking crown guards. So if you're looking for a diver at like the $4,000 range, I think this might be the new king. I mean, at that price, where else are you gonna find this much heritage, design, like perfect sizing, a stellar bracelet, all with Rolex fit and finish? But regretfully, I will not personally be buying this watch. First of all, I already have a neo-vintage Rolex sub 14060. It wasn't impossible, but the Tudor would have had to be near perfect to displace this watch. And I think you can sense that I'm kind of on the fence about the 39. Now, on the one hand, a 39mm Pelagos is a dream come true. To capture that professional spirit of the Pelagos in a more wearable package is music to my skinny wrist ears, if wrists had ears. Now, I don't much care that it can't go 500 meters in the water, or it doesn't have a helium escape valve. I don't even know how those things work anyway. So the spec downgrade can be justified, but to me, in the process of downsizing the watch, Tudor has lost too much of that Pelagos personality. And the combination of smaller, lighter, as well as shinier, it just doesn't add up to Pelagos DNA to me. So call me a purist. I feel like they should have kept the bedazzling to the Black Bay 58. That to me was always like the lifestyle diver for Tudor. And with the Pelagos 39, Tudor may have gained a good deal of new customers who like to sunbathe or dance in the water, jump off cliffs, what have you. But somewhere between the somber style and the reflective bezel, they lost me. So Tudor, let me take a second and speak to you directly, because you guys have been so good at listening to us as of late. This one was really close to being perfect. By all normal watch standards, it's awesome. But please do the next one for the diehards. And I'll be specific. Give us a blue Pelagos 39, same case, same bracelet, just keep the dial and bezel matte. And feel free to add a dash of beige to the markers like in the LHD, and it will be a huge hit. And if it's not, I will personally buy all the ones that you don't sell. So what do you guys think of the Pelagos 39? Am I being too harsh? Is it on your shopping list? Share your thoughts with me on watchcrunch.com. I'll put a link in the pinned comments below for a more extended discussion. Also, if you are looking for a Tudor or a Grand Seiko, Cartier, Breitling, Hamilton, whatever it is, you should give my man David Young at Benbridge Jewelers a call. He will hook you up. Just tell him Max sent you. As always, stay crunchy. I'll see you in the next one.